Welcome everybody. This is actually the second session which we facilitate via Exponential Ecosystem. And I'm very happy that I have my distinguished guests, Regina and Conrad, which will introduce themselves later. The stuff, what we will discuss today is AI in the insurance industry, value chain, sorry for that. And so I'm looking forward to a very interesting session. And as we all know, AI in the insurance business, but anywhere in the world, there's lots of chats about it, but it will surely have an impact on every human and every business model in the world. And certainly, specifically also the insurance industry will have and experience a heavy impact, which I think lots of people don't realize yet, because in certain areas it can be quite conservative. If we then moving to the next to the agenda for this evening, we will do the introduction of our panel members. We have one subject, which is AI in claims management. And after that, we will focus a little bit on identifying additional value opportunities for AI in the insurance value chain. So that's specific subjects. So now, Regina, warm welcome. If you can introduce yourself to the people who are listening in later, and then we follow the lineup as shown in this sheet.
Yes, thank you, Gerard, and glad to be here. I'm Regina Jaslow. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Innocuous AI. We're building a generative AI product to help claims adjusters and compliance team members at insurance carriers to more easily comply with the various state statutes and insurance regulations that they need to comply with. And we do that by surfacing that sort of information to them in a very easy to use ChatGPT-like kind of interface. And that's what we're working on that touches the folks in the claims space. And over to you, Conrad.
All right, thank you, Regina. And thank you, Gerard, for hosting us. My name is Conrad Hendrickson. I'm an attorney, and I've been in the insurance industry my entire career, about 27 years in legal, claims, and leadership roles. So I've had an opportunity to meet with claimants, help out during disasters, and help our insureds navigate the complex claim process. So thank you for having me on board.
Okay, thanks, Conrad. So my name is Gerard Skienstra. I'm also the co-founder of Exponential Ecosystem, where we focus on disruptive technologies, helping startups. That's also how I learned to know Regina, for everybody to be clear on that. And we try to have an impact, a social impact also by 2030 with 1,000 projects. And myself in the insurance industry have also 37 years of experience, and I'm a system thinker and a Star Trekkie, as I like to call myself, and a little bit nerdy. So I'm very excited about all AI developments. I'm very happy to have Regina and Conrad today in this panel session. So thanks so far. And so reach out to Exponential Ecosystem on LinkedIn if you want to. And we're happy to have an open chat and see what we can do for you. So now AI in claims management, and having people here like Regina and Conrad. If we're looking at claims management, and one of the questions I would like to ask is AI adoption has been particularly high in claims management compared to other areas in the insurance value chain. And I'll address that question first to Conrad, and maybe you can share some of your visions and put it in context. And
Sure, Gerard. So backing up primarily to property and casualty insurance, if you think about the spend for insurance companies, the claims department typically spends 60 to 70 to 80% of the premiums that are received. And that also means there's a corresponding investment within that piece of an insurance organization. So from an economic perspective, AI is going to be higher just because there's going to be more areas to invest within the claims process. But in addition to that, what's exciting in the claim space is there are quite a few internal processes, that have to be worked through, tremendous focus on customer service. And when you put those things together in the highly complex claim space, that means there's a great opportunity to invest in AI. And for whatever reason, claims has, in many organizations, seems to be the early adopter of AI because a lot of that technology is focused in that space, primarily because you can find the return on investment pretty quickly. For example, if you're adopting a photo estimating process or a digital process instead of sending somebody out, that's going to be a very direct economic benefit that the insurance company can find. So that's one of many examples out there where you see that clear return on investment and that opportunity within the claim space.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so if you have to use one word to sum it up, is it more efficiency oriented, the AI deployment in claims, or is it also disruptive?
From my perspective, I think it's been efficiency to this point, and disruptive, maybe. So I think there's certainly a lot of room for disruption. Right now, I would say maybe there's the industry and some insurance companies are building their bench strength with adopting AI. But in terms of transformational, I don't know that we've quite turned the corner yet in those opportunities for the future.
Okay. And yeah, maybe stepping back a little bit and say, Regina, if you listen to what Conrad just shared, because you're now an entrepreneur in this business and want to disrupt or to innovate with AI, the claims processing, what is it? What you think and what you share, what you want to share, listening to Conrad?
Yeah, I definitely do agree that to date, efficiency is really the name of the game. And it's not unusual. It is not distinct to the insurance industry per se, but to every kind of new technology adoption. Generally speaking, people want to dip their toes in the water before they take the plunge into the deep end. And so if you can show small gains, and in this case, efficiency gains, that it shows a little bit of the proof in the pudding of what the power of this technology can do. And generally speaking, the term disruption is often used by the startup world, especially by investors, because they think that's a sexy term. But quite frankly, the term disruption scares a lot of people that this might be something that's dangerous, risky. And of course, in the insurance industry, risk aversion is the basic nature of the whole industry. So disruption is not usually what startups would want to necessarily lead out of the gate in order to gain adoption and to, again, show the proof of concept by way of efficiency. So I'm not surprised that that is how things are starting out. And I think that will get people more and more comfortable with the use of AI. As you can tell already, AI is pervasively usable in very many industries and functions, but it starts out in some areas where they can show small gains and quick ROIs first.
Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, maybe to put that in perspective also, and most of us know Clayton Christensen, who is unfortunately not with us anymore, but he framed also the innovator's dilemma. And one of his things was that lots of companies, they indeed dislike disruptive innovation because it has a long-term return on investment. And so most people are going for efficiency innovation. That's what basically the world is doing. Even if you look at some of his research in Japan, the last decade, no real disruptive innovations took place there anymore. So it's an interesting world where we're in at this moment in time. Also, putting that into perspective also with yourself, Conrad, you have been a senior and having done different areas and fields in the claims industry. And the promise always has been, oh yeah, IT will change everything and will be more efficient. And maybe you can share some of your stories and put that then basically on the actuality, on the impact of AI, as you look at it.
Sure. So the words that come to mind are technology debt. So if you think about insurance companies, there's a tremendous amount of investment in technology, core systems and underwriting, claims, and other areas. So if you think of that need for change, there's certainly some huge challenges there with the technology debt. And when I think about disruption within the insurance industry, there's the tyranny of the present. And the things that we have to do today, or that opportunity to invest in tomorrow, are really those competing frictions that you have with any organization. And I'd say up until recently, it seems like the focus is on taking care of the problems of today. But if you think about AI, there's really that need to build that concrete return on investment and business use case, and to think creatively about how to get there with your potential client. So let's take Regina, for instance. She has a great tool to present back that is disruptive in so many ways for the insurance industry. The challenge is building that use case and bringing it back, and trying to identify those benefits, and why a wait and see approach probably isn't appropriate for making some of those investments in AI. And that's a friction before AI, when you're looking at major software implementations within the insurance industry. Do we have to do it today, or can we wait until tomorrow? And with AI and the challenge of growth and expansion and that new technology, wait and see may also leave you behind in a way that it didn't in the past.
Yeah, thank you for that. I would make that even more bold. So disrupt or be disrupted. So you have also the famous phrase of Andrew Grove, the former CEO of Intel. And it's only paranoid will survive. So I'm a big fan of of his phrase, and we even have a service called Innovation as a Service mindset. So you need to be constantly aware of all the changes which take place. And what you stated there correctly, and also been my experience, that the insurance industry in general has not been, they are like what they do. So the change adoption is pretty slow. And it can wait till the next day. But at this moment in time, I think disruptive change, and if you're not in front line, you will be disrupted and you will die, basically. And
Yeah, yeah. One of the things I'd add is it's not just the insurance companies, it's the vendors and partners and suppliers for insurance companies. And I'd say what I'm also seeing is they're feeling the disrupt or be disrupted challenge a little bit more than the insurance company. And so you're seeing them be investing in those early stage technologies, embedding those within their established services, and then presenting that back to the insurance company. So for the insurance company, it can be a win-win there. But it's that intermediary partner for the insurance company, I think, that really has taken advantage over the last few years of the disrupt or be disrupted model, with their focus on InsurTech and technology and advancement.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for that. So maybe Regina, so I know that your company, and I know I've been, and we're engaged in that, and you're looking at the United States market and the claims processing. One of the things you identified, that there are some interesting trends happening. Maybe you can share a little bit about that also, and how you look at that, and why you took certain decisions also to bring your AI business model in that direction. Maybe whatever you want to share already.
Yeah, definitely happy to do so. One of the most startling discoveries I made in looking deeper and deeper into the insurance industry was just a simple trend, and that is that 50% is in 50% of the insurance personnel, the staff members, are retiring in the next 4 years, and 25% are retiring in just the next 2 years. And what this means is that a lot of this wait and see approach, which is, really quite normal human decision-making process, becomes suddenly rather urgent, because, can the industry hire and train such volumes of people well enough to, simply keep up with today's workload, no less grow and make the company advance and grow? And so I think there's a sense of urgency, while the trepidation of lunging into anything AI oriented, especially for a risk averse industry, is causing them probably a little bit of grief. And certainly, as a general purchaser of any software product, companies of all kinds and industries are always asking the vendors these days, are you incorporating AI in some way, shape, or form? Because they want to know that they're working with a cutting edge vendor that is looking at opportunities for improving, so that in turn, they as users of that software can improve their business above and beyond their competitors. And so this really brings an interesting aspect to the urgency of a different kind of problem that they're trying to solve. Not just is certainly operational in nature, as human in human resource nature, but really, how do we operationalize everything quickly and rapidly without losing, the institutional knowledge that they have taken such pains to amass over the years?
Yeah, so I think it's very interesting point. When I heard at first about it, and I was thinking also, in Europe, do we have the same thing going on? And we also said we will deep dive on it later also, but that's not for this evening. And so the thing there is, it's the war on talent is going on in the world, and then you say 50%, 25%, so that's huge. And then we know, as in the insurance industry, people sell policies, and then you have the risk is somewhere else, and then you have a claim, and then the claim is basically also the next moment when people can experience if they bought the right policy, and if they did it with the right companies that speak of. And so that's where the gap is. And I'm going now a little bit to Conrad also on you've been there and you've seen that, and what do you feel as being someone from the field and the trends which Regina identified?
Yeah, I think the focus on talent and that need for talent is it's an emerging risk if it's not already here within insurers. And as you lose that organizational knowledge, so you have that embedded knowledge of an insurance company and how they practice, that's being lost in the process, and that also has to be replaced. And the difference now versus maybe 10 or 15 years ago is that the world is a little bit more complicated. Customer service is more complex, and that service experience certainly has more opportunities than it ever did in the past for failure. And I only say that because of the increasing regulation, the risk related to AI, the fact that there are so many service providers that can be involved in that insurance value chain. So the complexity is going up, and there is that risk of talent going down if the industry doesn't change and adopt and bring in that new talent, and also supplement that talent with new ways of thinking about managing their organizational knowledge. And from my perspective, that's kind of a fun area because there's a lot of information to support that service process. But it's on a SharePoint site here. It's in a claims file over here. It's in a management memo over here. And so really combining that and thinking of a new way to approach how to support the pilot on that claims adjuster is a really important opportunity. And frankly, there's a great use for AI in that space, which Regina's touching on as well.
Yeah, I support it also, and I think, and Regina needs to deep dive on it, but I think here, looking at the trend and the knowledge and the war on talent, and how do you get basically experience what's sitting in the brains, what is basically dead knowledge, because if they die, then it's gone, because they never wrote a manual how to do it. So I think there is the great opportunity to get AI in the occasion with the large language models and all the learnings there. It's typically a point of knowledge management and putting that in practice. And that's what I see. That's where I see lots of things in the insurance industry anyhow, that they make it over complex and it sticks with the people. But then if you look at it rationally, you still can make it to a 1 and a 0. And as such, you can make AI of it. But I want to take here also on how Regina is looking at that, because she's sitting on top of that new baby what will be shown to the world the coming months, I expect.
Right. Well, the thing is, the way we work today involves a lot of busy work that is relatively manual and administrative in nature. And a lot of that manual time wasted can be eliminated or reduced significantly with the help of AI. And AI has already shown how it can automate and do things a lot faster. And today, a lot of claims adjusters have articulated to us their working process, which is have many, many screens open, and they're bouncing from one screen to the next to the next. And is there a way to streamline that process? And I would argue that the answer is yes. And it is not really particularly disruptive, but it is really providing convenience. And this convenience, when used on an additive manner, time and time and again, every single day across hundreds of claims adjusters, you're talking about thousands and thousands of hours that could be saved, that could be then put towards other endeavors, such as providing better customer service and to ultimately speed up the process of the claim itself, because the policyholders really want one key thing out of the insurance companies when they have a claim is to have a prompt claim payment that's fair, right? And they want to make sure that the companies are doing everything on the up and up. And I think a JD Power report recently stated that policyholders have expressed only a 15% confidence level of trust in their insurance company. And is there a way that you can speed up the process, deliver your promise faster and accurately, and build that trust factor higher as a result? And I think that these combinations are actually possible with the use of technology. And today we're talking about AI, but tomorrow might be something else. But that's really the idea behind what we're trying to do and deliver to the insurance companies in this case.
Yeah, so a couple of key things, and I want to put them also for Conrad. So one of the things what you mentioned is convenience. That's internally. And we know that in combination with the trends you identified, that there is a shortage on claims adjusters anyhow, and work also. So it's interesting if you can, because the people in the insurance industry and also in general don't embrace AI. It's more or less, what's going on, and will my job be secure, and all that questions that I see day to day. So I want to see also with Conrad, so how do you look at that? That's on your experience. And then you have the level of the client, and the client wants only one thing. He wants to have his claim paid as quickly as possible. And that's the trust level. And we know from the past that general consumers don't trust banks, politicians, and insurance companies anymore. And they trust Oprah Winfrey more than anyone else, or Taylor Swift or something. But so that's where opportunities are. But maybe, Conrad, maybe you can shine also a little bit light on that with your experiences.
Sure. And backing up to what Regina said, prompt and fair. So she stated that like someone who's been in the industry as long as I have. And I think that's a great focus point to remember when it comes to claims. And if you think about convenience from a client perspective and the experience level, AI is another subcomponent of technology. And when you look around the world, and if you step out of the insurance company's doors into the rest of the world, you find that you can have transactions sometimes go a little bit smoother than it seems like they do within the insurance industry. So that's really part of the equation. But I think it's a combination of human intelligence and artificial intelligence that's going to have to go to work here together. Regina mentioned the workflows, the manual tasks, and those are areas of great opportunity at lower risk for insurance companies to look at that automation behind the scene. That adjuster is the pilot for that claim. I don't think we have to look at this and say we're going to substitute some LLM for that adjuster's decision making, and I don't think anybody would ever want to. But we can make it easier for them to provide that service and really focused on higher value human-centric activities. So that complex commercial lines client doesn't have to visit with a chatbot. They can visit with that adjuster, and we can make that communication process easier for them. So I think that's a real challenge here, is thinking about that focus within the DNA of each insurance company, how they want that service orientation to look, and where's the easy lifting that they can accomplish efficiency and bring that technology in the world, including AI, into their organization.
I think it certainly also supports my line of thought. To put that, try to get it a little bit sharper there, because you have not enough people. There is smart technology, which is what I then call AI-driven or embedded AI. Then you see people are risk averse to embrace as humans the technology in your working processes. My future there is, if I look at an AI of a claims adjuster or handler, whatever name you want to give it, it should be someone who is embracing AI fully. So I call it the digital claims adjuster or AI-driven claims adjuster. But is that something what resonates with you? So, because the problem is then some people will embrace it and the other will say, oh, I'm afraid. And that's what I see in different things. It's even not age related. It is more, are people having an adaptable intelligence level also and are open for change?
Correct. I think a great analogy I heard recently was someone discussing the use of Microsoft Word, which began, 20 years ago or so. And if you started using Microsoft Word and it has grammar check, are we going to become stupider and forget how to spell? Well, I think we still know how to spell. What we've been able to do is take a piece of technology and use it to enhance how we provide a level of service and a higher quality service. So if you step forward to where we're at today, and you mentioned it, Gerard, it's that same challenge of being able to find a way to merge that existing technology into creating a better, higher quality service experience.
Yeah, great. Okay. So I want to wrap this up a little bit because we have still also a little bit the future and other. Okay, basically, I want to see what you want to share, Regina, because now you have looked at what's going on in the claims and business and being in the AI. You said, okay, that's probably a great business opportunity to do something. And how much do you like to share this evening already to the audience? We said, this is basically what I'm working on, and this is basically what the audience and the clients can look forward to.
Yeah. Well, we're busy building the product and gaining feedback for iteration of the product in preparation of a rollout. And the data sets that have to be gathered is quite tremendous. And that is, in fact, the pain point that the insurance companies have articulated to us. And that is, it's one thing to do claims adjustment in just one state. But when you have to now multiply those changing state regulations, amongst other things, that they need to mind across, say, 20 or even 50 states, that becomes a real headache. Because it's very easy to get confused. And so for us, our challenge is first to create that database and to ensure that we're on top of that so that the companies that use our product have the latest and greatest information. And then we are presenting it in a fashion that is easy to retrieve. So it's all in one place so that you can avoid the screen to screen motions. And it's kind of, you think about the Kaizen way of doing things, is you want to just eliminate all the little losses of time and to be as efficient as possible. And ultimately include other sets of data that they have mentioned might be helpful, from weather data to maybe even building codes and other types of things that we can bring in from APIs that provide data of all kinds, so that there can be this consortium of information all in one place at their fingertips. And just to mention one thing that you mentioned earlier about adoption of technology, I remember back in the day when the internet was the latest and newest thing on the market in the 1990s. Everybody was a little bit afraid of it in some ways. And I remember thinking to myself, even at that time, like, well, it's one thing, to search for information online, but it's another to go, e-commerce shopping for shoes. Like, I got to put that pair of shoes on my feet to know whether I'm going to buy it, right? How am I ever going to buy that online? Well, lo and behold, today, I have, fast forward years later, I'm buying shoes online. Who would have thought that was something that consumers would do, right? So I think that when people start to play around with the technology, they see its possibilities, and then they're more open to the next step and the next step. So it is a little bit of an iterative journey also for the end user. And the people who have never played with ChatGPT, they might be still quite worried about what this means. But for us, in terms of the people who know how the sausage is made, I would say that human in the loop is going to be the case for quite a long time in the world of AI, because there's just so much validation that needs to happen. And like Conrad said, the what the human brings to the table is that human element, which is not what the AI is going to bring to the table, right? And I think that we can enhance and encourage more of that open time to make happen those kinds of high value work. And that will ultimately deliver that promise to the policyholder that they will have a better experience as a result. Hopefully, will be a faster and fairer claim, because our product is intended to provide better guardrails to help the compliance team and the claims adjuster more easily comply with state regulations in ways that they might not have realized have changed under their noses.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thank you for that. So, and if we're looking ahead, when can people can they sign up already, or do they need to, where do they need to call you? Of course, they also can reach out to Conrad and myself, but then because it will be exciting, and we know if you're looking at the statistics, every week there are about 2,000 new AI features. So there is also kind of a sense of urgency to be around. So, what is your realistic time frame for that?
Yeah, we already have what's called a minimum viable product. So we can showcase data sets for homeowners insurance, commercial property insurance for the state of Iowa right now, as it relates to state statutes, insurance regulations, case law, and court rulings. And also information across other states such as Nebraska and Minnesota. And we're continually working to add more states to the mix. But as far as the working version is concerned, we have that ready to show and for people to kick the tires on it. So if any company wants to pilot and to test out the process and to be a part of that journey with us, to provide feedback, to shape this product in a way that is going to benefit and provide even greater utility, do reach out to me. Our website is innocuous.ai. There is a Calendly scheduler at the bottom of the homepage. Just set up an appointment with me. I'd be happy to speak with you.
Okay, thank you, Regina. So now we're moving on, and we have some time left, being conscious of time also. We also said on the agenda, identify additional value opportunities for AI in the insurance industry. It's also something very close to my heart, and for all of us here. And I want to kick this off with Conrad, saying being in the area there, and you're also engaging with the AI journey in the claims product of Regina. And if you think very broadly, everything is possible. What is it in your mind? What's going to happen in the insurance value chain?
So Regina mentioned that need to bring together all those different areas within claims and make it easier for the adjuster. The claims process is also drives a lot of other processes within the insurance company. They understand risk selection, they have financial information, they have data and resources to help keep clients safer and to help make the insurance company more profitable embedded in that claims data. And I think a challenge for the future is being able to take that data and really work across silos within insurance companies. So think about analytics, think about how do you combine that information across different departments to find those new opportunities to serve clients better. And right now it's done with structured data, with some of the structured data, but there's a wealth of unstructured data, both within the claims process, but I would say also within the other components in the insurance value chain that haven't been leveraged as well as they could yet. So if you think about building out neural networks or building in LLMs or looking at other ways to capture that intelligence within the insurance value chain and present that back with a better value product, I think there's just a great opportunity. The way I think about it from a claims perspective is the leaders in claims understand intuitively with their experience how their process works, how to manage that risk, how to set reserves. They understand the data coming out. The actuary who's setting the pricing and the rates and the underwriter who's managing that risk don't understand that. So you have an opportunity to communicate better within your organization and use the data and analytics that's embedded within claims. So claims leaders go into claims because, like me, they weren't good enough at math, and that seemed like a good opportunity at the time when it was presented to me. Actuaries know the math, but they don't know the process. So really merging those together and finding that opportunity can bring a wealth of information to the insurance companies to help them run stronger organizations. And that goes into their partnership relationships as well, is thinking smarter about how to use technology. So data is huge, eliminating those manual processes. And I'll touch on that kind of very briefly. If you think about the workflow in a traditional company, the document comes in, it's presented to a claim handler, they read it, they put it into the next workflow. So finding ways with those millions and billions of documents to streamline that process provides value, provides more structured data back within the insurance company. So those are two areas that come to mind for me, using data and also improving those internal workflows with AI components to move things through faster to provide a better customer experience.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, I think at 2 points, it is data, and then of course, same old thing, garbage in, garbage out. So the quality of the data is still quite important there.
Correct.
Create what we call then a data mindset, and what I like to call nowadays AI first. There's also a new book where people like the founder of Chat and Bill of course Gates and all people wrote on that book. It's worthwhile to have a look at also. Yeah, so that's basically the future is, and you mentioned an interesting thing, the actuaries, and then if you thought if accounting is too exciting, then you started to study actuarying, was always the famous joke. And so then you have the process people, and my personal thinking there is that I think that though the actuaries are quite smart in a certain area, that's typically something what AI with the smart algorithms can make very scalable. And that's also the word on how do you make things scalable. I think that is one of the scalabilities there, which you can, it will be much more customer centric if you really look at the future, to my thinking there. The smarter the AI will get, the better time you have to engage with the human factor with clients and so on, and that's something I think where part of the future lies. Looking also at the time, and so Regina, do we have something to add? What the perspective what Conrad just shared?
I totally agree with what Conrad was saying. I'll add a little other spin to it, and that is, when insurance companies adopt all of these technology solutions, it's one thing to want to improve your operational processes and to become more efficient, and maybe the competitive edge is that you can do it faster and better than the other guy. But if the other guy also uses the same tool, then where is the competitive edge, right? And I would say that the data that he mentioned, which is really important, can really help make that difference. So each company has their own, standard operating processes, their own internal documents and all that, which is personal and grown over the years, that institutional knowledge that is captured sometimes in documents, like you said, in SharePoint or some other spot, and some of them just captured in people's heads, right? And to the extent that these AI tools or these technology solutions can ingest the internal information for each organization, couple that with the data that they need to have from the external source, and to make more sense of it, come together in a way that is distinct to that organization, that gives that personalized edge over the other company. And so there's really much more integration of that data. It's not just like, here's the external data, here's the internal data. And in the past, like the human beings are kind of merging it in their heads. And now, technology can help bring that together more easily to synthesize it better. And then the other thing is, I think it gets to the trust factor that I touched on earlier, which is, I think, a little bit of a potentially controversial thing. Insurance companies have just so much data that they sit on, right? And some of this data is shared with the NAIC. They'll not necessarily reveal to the general public. But to the extent that insurance companies are doing great things where they're paying out claims quickly and fairly, they should be proud of it, and to just publish some of this data. And there's just so much data to ingest and to decide and put out there, that it's possible that they can use this technology to help them decide what data we should publish to actually increase the trust value out there. And today consumers are much more interested in transparency, right? And this is sort of a new trend. And insurance companies have not generally been very transparent. And I think that that might be a differentiator as far as competitive advantage over another. The company that is able to be leaner and more transparent, I think can win the trust game and actually gain market share as a result.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think that's also like there is thing in the value chain when you bring, but it's not for now that you have brokers and all these different people who all need to have a little bit money where they add value. So there will be certain organizations in the value chain with based on the trust level that some of them are less needed, because then it will make the process more efficient. But that's for another discussion, I should think. But trust and transparency is going hand in hand nowadays, and the world is getting people know that exactly what things are. In certain countries like Sweden, there's already everybody knows what everybody is making on a salary, or anything is open. So there's less, it's all, the more open it is, the better the world starts to rule. And at the end of the day, if you add value, it's like the same, like the old saying of also, again, Clayton Christensen, why do you buy a milkshake? To get jobs done. So why do I go to an insurance company or to, because I think that I run a risk, what is basically I need to be insured, and it's not to be about fear, but it needs to be about trust. And that you say I pay a fair price and I will get quickly paid. The last word I leave then to Conrad, and then I will close the meeting also. Any things what we have been reflecting upon, Conrad, today? Do you say as some last statements?
Sure, Gerard, and Regina, I appreciate you sharing your insight and helping coach me on what that outside perspective looks like, and keeping me grounded in that customer focus. So working from that, I'll think about it a few ways. One, if you're in insurance and you sit down at the dinner table and you ask your family members, or you talk to your friends and say, what do you like about insurance, and what do you not like about insurance? And maybe sometimes those of us that are in insurance just need to stop and listen to that and understand where we need to go to build that stronger perception. The second piece of that is think about all the coverage gaps that we have out there, and the value add for this type of technology, in my mind, should not just be value add for the insurance company. It should be value add for the customer. For example, if you're in a catastrophe-prone region, if you're in a Gulf Coast state in the US, and you know a hurricane is coming in, and the insurance company knows the hurricane is coming in, why do we have to wait? Why do we have to wait for you to call in to make that claim to us? And those are just examples where technology like AI can help transform that experience and take us to a new level to provide service. And also think of new ways to address those gaps that are emerging within traditional insurance P&C products. We have higher deductibles, we have wind hail exclusions, we have hurricane exclusions, and all those things that are focused on preserving that profitability and solvency for the insurance company, but making sure that as we within the insurance industry work on those processes, we're also identifying ways to help those clients through the gaps, and we're working in the industry to fill those gaps for those customers as well.
Okay, thank you for that. So everybody who's been listening in, so this was a session about AI in claims management and looking a little bit at the future on the impact. And so I want to thank Regina being very switched on, and Conrad bringing his experience and his future and foresights to the table. Everybody who's listening in, I hope you enjoyed and maybe you learned a little bit. If you think that you also say, I want to be part of this, then reach out, because we have panel discussions. Now we were with 3, we can do it with more. So we are happy to facilitate that. And AI will be a constant factor for these things, these sessions. And the next one will be at least before Christmas, I think. And we will release this soon.
Great, thanks.
Thank you.